Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I've been teaching guitar lessons now for over 20 years and just wanted to share some things with you that I've found that beginners aren't often told, and some of the stuff might be really helpful. Also, I should note that this video was shot over a couple of different days because of some technical issues, but hopefully we'll all just see past that. If you're finding yourself having trouble getting your fingers in place for a chord, more often than not, the problem is your thumb. As a general rule, the higher you have your thumb, or the more you have it wrapped around the neck of the guitar, the less you're going to be able to reach, especially if you're trying to play in your fingertips and curling your fingers. So if you find yourself not really having the reach that you need, try lowering your thumb. If you have it in the middle of the neck, you'll be able to reach a whole lot more than you will if you have your thumb kind of way up here hanging off of the top. And sometimes you might need to move your thumb, further to the bottom to reach things depending on your hand size and shape. But generally speaking, if you can't get your fingers in place for a chord, it's usually your thumb that you want to look at first. It can be really helpful to isolate what you're working on so that you don't have to worry about all the other stuff. So if you're working on your rhythm for a song, you can just work on the rhythm without having to worry about what chords are there. You can even do this for a song that you have no idea what the chords are. All you need to do is put a few fingers over your strings. You just lay them on there gently. You don't want to press them down into the frets. All you're trying to do is stop those strings from moving. And then you can strum away with your right hand, and you'll hear a little bit of the click of a pick or a strum from your finger, and you'll be able to hear the rhythm that you're playing, but you don't have to worry about all the extra open string noise or trying to move your left hand into different chord shapes or any of that stuff. Same thing can work for single notes. If you're just picking out a pattern on a single string, you can just pick out that pattern on a single string and you don't have to worry about exactly what's being fretted. You can work on the timing without having to work on all the notes and chords that go along with it. It can be really helpful to just practice sitting with your guitar. And that might sound a little crazy, but you might have to do a lot of different things like take notes or rearrange a music book. Your left hand shouldn't have to actually hold the instrument up while you're playing. And once you get used to that sort of thing, it should be a lot easier to get where you need to go when you're not trying to actively hold the instrument the whole time. And that'll happen on, any note that you choose. By just simply changing how hard you're pressing, you can make a really nice sounding chord turn into a really ugly sounding chord. Guitar gear is great. Some people even spend decades of their lives collecting things and rebuilding and fixing things and making their own line of guitars. And gear can be really inspiring. It can be a lot of fun. It can even just be more novelty that makes you want to practice. But gear is no replacement for spending time practicing and better technique, more creative playing. At the end of the day, they're just tools to allow you to play the music that you want to play. And if you have a good functional guitar that's set up well and maintained, that's really all you need. Anybody that's trying to say that you have to have a certain guitar pedal or you have to have a certain amp to play any particular style, or it's the latest and greatest thing and you absolutely have to have it, it's just marketing, and they'll be into some other new thing that's the thing you have to have, like probably next week. So don't sweat the gear so much. No matter how good your gear is, you're only gonna sound as good as you're able to play. So focus more on your playing, don't worry so much about gear. It can be really difficult for us sometimes to find the time to be able to practice our guitar. We don't always have the time or space to be able to have a guitar with us. But if there's music playing, even if it's that music that you really don't like that's playing in the doctor's office or dentist's office or wherever you happen to be, that there's some background music going, you can work on your rhythm. And it could be something as simple as just tapping along to the beat. You can tap your foot, you can bob your head, you can tap along something. It really doesn't matter as long as you're listening to the music, trying to identify the beat, and moving along with it. You can really practice kind of anywhere. You play guitar because you love music. And I assume that means you also love to listen to music. And you've only got one set of ears, so please protect them. I wish I'd done a much better job protecting my ears over the years. You want to be able to listen to music years from now, and you want to be able to hear the other musicians that you're interacting with and maybe fall asleep at night without a constant ringing in the background. So pop in some earplugs, maybe turn it down a little bit. Especially when you're dealing with earbuds and headphones, because a lot of times we just don't realize how loud the things that we're pumping into our ears are all the time. It's really obvious if you're playing through, a really cranked stack and you can feel the air in the room shaking because of it. But it's not so obvious when you're just popping in some earbuds because you're, doing the laundry or the dishes. So protect your ears. Your future self will be really glad you did. If you look at most songs are built out of rhythm guitar. You don't generally have solos running through much of a song. Usually it's a very small percentage. And yeah, that stuff is really cool and flashy, and we should totally learn how to do that because it's fun and it makes songs all that much better for it. But there are a lot of guitarists out there that learn bits and pieces of solos or are really great at soloing that aren't so great at rhythm guitar. And usually that means that about 80-95% of the song suffers because their rhythm isn't so great. And if you want to write songs or be a member of a band, having good rhythm skills is going to be far more valuable as a songwriter or a band member than being that person that's able to play some fast, shreddy solos. There are certainly people out there that get jobs because they're good at soloing, but usually the ones that are good at soloing but great at rhythm are the ones that get those jobs and keep them for a long time. You can learn music theory now, if you want. It's not that complicated. I've got a video that you can check out if you'd like. But a lot of music teachers don't want to talk about music theory early on because they think it'll either bore their students or intimidate them because they might have a fairly complicated way that they look at it. Or they might just think that the student's not ready for it yet. I think if you're curious about it and you're the type of person that wants to know, how things fit together, you can absolutely learn music theory. And you don't even have to be able to play it to understand it. If anybody says you have to do this, or you have to be able to play that, or, oh, you don't know this song, you're not a real guitarist, that's just them trying to put their own issues on you. So if you like guitar, you try to play it, you have fun with it, you're a real guitarist. That's all that's required. You try. Sometimes a certain technique or a part of a song will just be really difficult. Sometimes you're gonna hit a wall in what you're learning and maybe not be able to understand what that next thing is that you need to understand, or you're going to really struggle with a technique, or you're not going to be able to play things as quickly as you want to, or things might just take longer than you think to be able to play the way that you want to play them. And that's totally normal and totally to be expected. It's okay to get frustrated sometimes, and it's okay to put your instrument down and walk away and go do something else for a while. I worked in guitar stores for many, many years, and between all of the lessons and repairs and management duties, I did a lot of sales. And the most common thing that people would come in when they were looking for a new guitar for somebody starting off was they would look immediately for an acoustic guitar. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Acoustic guitars are wonderful, and I love them a lot. But people often thought they had to start on an acoustic, and that to move into an electric guitar was something that you did much further down the line. Try to find something that's a good functional instrument, that's set up well and maintained, and it doesn't matter if it's acoustic or electric. Play whatever inspires you. Eventually, if you have the means, a lot of guitarists will end up having an acoustic and an electric. They're just like two completely different takes on the instrument. The biggest thing is finding what makes you excited so that you pick your guitar up and actually play it. Do yourself a favor and don't tie your strings. If you're using metal strings, there's no reason to tie them onto the tuning peg. Having a couple of winds around will be more than enough to hold them in place. The only thing that tying your strings really does for you is make it more difficult to change your strings. And if it's more difficult to do, you're gonna be less likely to do it. So do your future self a favor and don't make changing your strings a bigger obstacle than it needs to be. It's called playing guitar, so you should have fun with it. And if it's something that you're having fun and enjoying, you're playing correctly, whether your technique's the best or not. Thanks for watching. I hope this was a helpful video for you. If you'd like to see more from the channel, feel free to hit like and subscribe so you can find more of my videos. And if you want to help support the channel, if you find these really helpful and you want to help make it so that I can keep making these videos, feel free to check out amethystguitars.com. I have a small business where I build and sell guitars. And I also have a Patreon going. All the links and stuff will be down in the description if you're interested in checking any of that out.